Over to you, Gerda. Gerda, our SAA, by the way, you are muted. Gerda.
Thank you. Dear members, and especially our visitors and guests, please note the following important announcement. By attending the remote Zoom meeting event, which is also live streamed on YouTube, you agree to the public policy of Toastmasters International, as well as the unassociated remote hosting service. Some of your personal information, such as name, image, and any shared messages will be recorded. Your remote attendance hereby discharges Toastmasters International and Leadership Speak and or any of its members from all claims, demands, rights, promises, damages, and liabilities arising out of or in connection with the use of distribution of said video recordings, including but not limited to any claims for invasion of privacy, appropriation of likeness, or defamation. Zoom master, please start the recording. Thank you. Welcome to Leadership Speak, an advanced Toastmaster club for leadership development. We are one of the top 5 clubs globally. I am Gerda Felix, your Sergeant at Arms for the meeting. We provide a supportive and positive learning experience in which members are empowered to develop communication and leadership skills, resulting in greater self-confidence and personal growth. Leadership Speak is the premier club for experienced Toastmasters to become better self-directed leaders. We are an advanced club focused primarily on leadership development in everything we do. Our timer has a virtual hand raised so we all can immediately see who is keeping the time. Our TMOD will lead our meeting today. And our TMOD today is Toastmaster Renan Ercilla. He is from the Philippines. He's been a Toastmaster for 5 years. Seasoned human resource professional with 16 years of experience in both local and multinational companies. Currently serving as an human resource manager. His expertise spans strategic business partnering, organizational development, and employee relations with a strong track record of driving people initiatives that align with business goals. Renan is known for building collaborative relationships across all levels and leading change management efforts that support companies' growth and transformation. With a rousing welcome, please, ladies and gentlemen, our Toastmaster of the day, Toastmaster Renan Ercilla.
Thank you so much, Gerda, for that great introduction. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, fellow Toastmasters, and warm welcome to our guest. Today, it's truly an honor to serve as your Toastmaster of the day. I'm excited to be your TMOD as we journey through today's meeting, designed not just to develop only our communication and leadership skills, but to deepen our understanding of what it really means to leading from the ground up as our theme of the day. Let me share to you a bit story of the former CEO of the Starbucks, but this will supplement more by our education mentor later. Leading from the ground up. Maybe you when you hear the name Howard Schultz, maybe you will remember or you will know it's Starbucks. Howard Schultz is an American businessman best known as the former chairman and CEO of Starbucks, who transformed the company from a local Seattle retailer into a global coffee empire. He served as CEO during three separate tenures, 1987 to 2000, then 2008 to 2017, and then he returned 2002 to 2023. And is credited with bringing Italian-style espresso culture to the US. When people hear the name Howard Schultz, people think of Starbucks. But what's often forgotten is that Schultz did not start at the top. He started on the ground. In the early 1980s, he joined Starbucks as Director of Retail Operations and Marketing. Instead of staying behind a desk, he spent time in stores talking to baristas, observing how work was done, and listening to what employees experience every day. What caught his attention was not just coffee or operations. It was how people were treated. From an HR perspective or HR professional like me, Schultz was doing something many of us recognize as foundational. He was listening to employees before designing solutions. He saw that when people felt respected and supported, they took ownership of their work and showed up differently for customers and for the business. Culture, he realized, was not built by policies alone. It was shaped by daily behavior and by giving people the ownership to make meaningful decisions. Even without formal authority, Schultz began advocating for healthcare benefits for part-time workers. At that time, this idea was risky, expensive, and unpopular. but he spoke up anyway because he believed dignity at work mattered. This is where Toastmasters comes in. Like many of us in this room or Zoom room, Schultz was leading without a title. He influenced voice, conviction, and consistency. He did not wait to be a senior enough to speak. He spoke because it was the right thing to do. When Schultz later became CEO, his leadership was not imposed from the top. The trust, credibility, and values were already there, built from the ground. And that's what the lesson for me as an HR professional and Toastmasters alike. Leadership starts long before the title. It begins when we listen, speak up, and stand for people one conversation at a time. That is leading from the ground up. Okay, so that's all for our theme of the day, and this will be supplied more during our education session. We have guests. Thank you for visiting our dear club. Guest leadership speak. It is an advanced club, and there is a digital guest book posted on the chat. Please sign the guest book so we will know more about you and introduce more about our club to you and to allow us to keep informing you of our upcoming events and hope you can be one of our members. Okay, so now let's begin with our toast. Not sure if Aminata is already here. Is Aminata already here?
Renan, I'll take over the toast. Thank you so much.
Okay. Okay, thank you, Holmes. So I invite our Holmes thank our club president to deliver the toast. Over to you, Holmes.
Thank you, TMOD. Think about the ladder. All of us have had experience climbing that, be it physically or metaphorically. When we are trying to climb, we take one step at a time. And each step we are moving, one of the things we would definitely check out is whether the step that we are standing, is it solid? Else we will wibble and fall. We need to make sure it is solid. And here, in this meeting, I would like everybody to take on the same perspective when looking at leadership. Each step of the way in our leadership, we need to ensure that our foundations are firm, are strong, and are stable. Let's look at our journey in Toastmasters. When we first joined any club, which includes leadership speak, we will be assigned roles such as starting the meeting, being a timer, some support roles, and then gradually as we master the different roles, we may take on positions in the different committees if they exist in your club, followed by club leadership positions. And more experienced Toastmasters, many of us also later move on to district roles and perhaps beyond. In this experience, the system of Toastmasters bring us through what we are talking about in the meeting today. Leadership from the ground up. It is a step-by-step process where we anchor ourselves in the system, in the experience, in the learning. Legendary coach John Wooden used to remind his players that you cannot perform at the highest level if you don't even have the fundamentals. And this is the same in leadership. We don't start as experts. When we start, we need to make sure we have the heart and mind of a student. We learn from the ground. And when we start, we must take our roles seriously. Those who support in the process of supporting others, in the process of respecting whatever that's going on, and in the process of quietly figuring out, supporting the meeting, making things work. And through this, we build credibility and confidence. Visibility may not be at its highest, but as we continue collaborating and experiencing through the system, others experience our contributions and we experience the system. This is a two-way process where others trust us as a reliable collaborator, as a reliable co-student, as we are all learners here in Toastmasters International. And we move up gradually into our leadership positions. We bring that credibility, we bring that trust, we bring that understanding with us as a ground-up process. Members and guests. Leadership doesn't begin at the top. It starts right at the bottom, where we started, and step by step of the way, we build it up, and this is where true leadership can be. The trust, the credibility, and the understanding ground up. Members and guests, today, I'd like to invite each and every one of you to unmute your microphones, turn on your cameras, and prepare to raise your glasses. To leadership from the ground up.
To leadership from the
Leadership
ground
from the ground up.
Leadership
Cheers.
leadership from the ground up.
Leadership from the ground up.
Cheers.
TMOD.
Thank you, Holmes, and I appreciate that you took over the toast role, and you still aligned it with our theme of the day, leading from the ground up. Okay. For the benefit of the guest, I have to explain the agenda of our meeting. I will be introducing role players such as the timer and grammarian, followed by education session. Then we will listen to the stories of the prepared speeches. The evaluation portion of the meeting will be led by the general evaluator, then the business portion, and connect with the guests that will be led by our president or one of the club officers. After that, you can stay for some feedback and chit chats. Now, allow me to introduce our timer, Renan Gosh, who will lag time spent of every speech for today's meeting. Renan is a dedicated Toastmaster and a market access manager at GlaxoSmithKline Pharmaceutical. He's passionate about continuous learning, self-care, and personal growth. Please help me welcome Renan Gosh to explain the role of a timer for today's meeting.
Thank you so much.
Toastmaster of the day, Toastmaster Renan. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, fellow Toastmasters and guests. Let us think of today's meeting like a road journey. The green card. Green card is your open highway. Keep moving confidently. Next, yellow. The yellow card is a gentle reminder. Slow down and prepare to conclude. And the red card is stop sign. Time to park your thoughts gracefully. As a timer, I am your friendly traffic controller, ensuring everyone reaches their destination on time. And I'll share my report in the chat box. It's time to hand over the podium to our Toastmaster of the day, Toastmaster Renan. Back to you.
Okay, thank you, Renan, and for all of our speakers, always look the timer at the left side of your computer if you're fronting your laptop or computer, because he is or our timer is raising his hand, so it will always place at the left portion if you're fronting your laptop or computer. All right, so now let me introduce our grammarian who will share the word of the day and explain the role. Fabian Joseph. Fabian said, one day of my favorite books is Atomic Habits. This theme resonates because it's the small daily habits we do that helps you lead from the ground up. Over to you, Fabian, to explain your role.
Hi, everyone. Good morning from Guyana. Good morning, good evening, wherever you are. Today, I am functioning as the grammarian. It is my responsibility to pay attention to all speakers. I will be listening carefully for your language use. And also, I will take note of any improper language, as well as any outstanding words, quotes, and thoughts. It is also my duty as the grammarian to introduce the word of today. The word for today is ownership. Ownership is a noun, and the meaning is taking responsibility and acting without waiting to be told. I would use this word in a sentence by saying, I am taking ownership of how I show up every day. Ladies and gentlemen, at this meeting, I will be paying close attention to each and every one of you as you utilize this word. Also, I will be posting this word in the chat to remind you to use the word of the day. So you will be seeing it throughout the meeting. When called upon, I will give my report. Back to you, Toastmaster of the day.
Okay, thank you, Fabian. Fellow Toastmasters, hope we can incorporate the word of the day in all of our speaking opportunities. Okay, so this meeting is being recorded for training and education purposes, and for our guests, hope you enjoy the meeting. And again, the digital guest book is posted in the chat. Kindly fill up so we can get in touch with you. Now, moving on to the education session. Are you excited? I believe yes. Our keynote speaker will lead the education session. Oltesh Thobias from Nigeria. Please put on the spotlight his evaluator for us to know what the Oltesh speech project. Nicole White.
Greetings, everyone. It is my pleasure to evaluate the contribution by Oltesh Thobias, who will be presenting a level 5 project from the Persuasive Influence path. The purpose of this project is for the speaker to develop and deliver a longer form presentation. Today, Oltesh will be sharing a keynote style speech ranging from 18 to 22 minutes, a significant milestone in any Toastmasters journey. As part of his growth, Oltesh has shared that he is intentionally working on minimizing the use of notes and strengthening his connection with the audience. I'm looking forward to observing how these objectives come to life in his delivery today. Back to you, Toastmaster Renan.
Thank you, Nicole. Fellow Toastmasters, guest Oltesh believes that leading from the ground up is the way to go. Everything starts from the ground, be it at an individual level, family, community, or corporate. Ground is not only where we need to start, it is a place we need to be connected to for us to progress. That is why we say he is or she is grounded. In his keynote speech, Oltesh will share his experience about this topic and explore what we need to consider in order to create the impact we desire. Please help me welcome Oltesh Thobias with his keynote, 5 levels of leading from the ground up. Oltesh, over to you.
Thank you very much, Renan and Nicole. I want you to take a moment and picture a strong, giant, huge green mango tree, laden with a lot of fruits. We all like to enjoy mangoes, especially in the mango season, which happens to be December in the part of the world that I come from. Some of us see that mango tree, but we might not know how far, how long, how many challenges that particular mango tree has experienced for it to give us the fruits that we need and enjoy. It turns out that for a mango tree to thrive and survive and bear fruits, it needs the soil. Not only a soil, it needs fertile soil with the right moisture, oxygen, and temperature. It needs the roots that will be able to travel far and wide to draw water and nutrients that are required to feed the trunk. It also needs a very strong trunk that is visible, that can withstand the wind and terrible weather. That particular mango tree also needs the branches that will continue transporting the nutrients, but most importantly, to support the fruits that we're seeing in the image. As we talk about leading from the ground up, I want to take this particular metaphor to our leadership journeys. For us to bear the fruits, we need to expose ourselves in that very situation that the mango tree has shown to us. When preparing this keynote, I decided to talk to 3 influential leaders. And these are individuals that I have known for decades. And I've been profiling them through the years. And I noted that they have demonstrated, they have lived, and they have exercised leadership. And I took time to interview them, asking them, what does leading from the ground up means to you? And let me just insist the word up. The first two, the last word up, which is just 2 letters. Leading from the ground, everyone can lead from the ground. But for you to lead from the ground up, that means you need to move from the ground and start going up. And I like this theme because it challenges us to challenge the status quo. It challenges us to grow from where we are to the next level. So when I interviewed these leaders, they mentioned areas, they mentioned considerations that I believe will help each and everyone today as an individual in order to continue intentionally exercising the theme that we have today. There was a common thread throughout the interviews that I had with these leaders. What they all told me is they had very clear values that they observe and a mindset. What came out was integrity, perseverance, commitment, emotional intelligence, critical thinking, and listening. And it turns out that these are the values that these 3 individuals lived through their lives. They also indicated that they are lifelong learners. I can just pick one of the individuals who shared his credentials and qualifications. He had a diploma in engineering. He had 4 masters. He had a PhD in leadership and communication. This particular individual has read more than 800 books, an average of 5 books per month. He has been exposed to leadership, communication skills, the skills that you learn from the street. These 3 leaders, despite the fact that they had values and they went through a lifelong journey of learning, they also ensured that whatever they learned, whatever knowledge they acquired, they observed credibility, responsibility, accountability, but also ensure that whatever information they were gathering, it is visible for others to see. These leaders also walked the talk to the extent that the teams that they lead, the community that they belong, did not only learn from hearing from them, but also by observing. They also shared the knowledge. They empowered those that they led. They ensured that whatever lessons they picked along the way, they passed them on to those that were ready to learn, to those that were ready to be informed. These leaders also ensured that they left an impact. Just as we saw in the mango tree, that mango tree bore fruits. And these leaders also made sure that the space that they occupied left a legacy. It could be procedures, it could be policies, it could also be, resources that would allow these individuals to excel in their lives. when I took my interview to the next level, I asked them, but it looks like, for example, getting 4 degrees, going through a PhD, reading 800 books, that's not an easy feat. How did you manage? And they indicated that they were very intentional, hard work, but they also ensure that whatever it is that they were working on, no was never an answer that they would accept. Discouragement was fuel that would allow them even to take it to the next step. There was also pain along the way, but their focus was to achieve and attain the goals that they wanted to acquire through that journey. And they reminded me that leading from the ground up is not an easy thing. It's not an easy assignment. There's pain, there's discouragement. And at times, you might even be accused of being ambitious, of being non-sensitive to emotions and to the situations. But these individuals only focused on what was in the cause of their destination. Now, if we have to bring this conversation back home to leadership speak, how are we exercising this particular thing? I joined Leadership Speak about a year ago. And despite being in Toastmasters for more than 10 years, I noted that this club provided exactly the same environment that we have seen in the image of a mango tree. A safe environment for an individual like me, or for everyone here who wants to grow. A safe environment where you are heard, you're given an opportunity, you're given feedback, but also you are encouraged. There's no judgment. Given the kind of work that I do, I don't necessarily get time to respond to questions or to share the information or to fill out easy speak. And the question that I always get is, or the text that I always get is, Oltesh, are you okay? Is there a way we can help you so that you can provide the information that we require? I have never been judged. They feel safe. Leadership Speak is practicing leading from the ground, right from the soil of leadership and communication that we all belong. Now, when we talk about the roots that will go into the ground to fetch the water and other nutrients, I noted that in Leadership Speak, we have influential people. We have people who master the craft of what they do. CEOs, speakers that are speaking across the globe. But it's one thing in common that I picked from Leadership Speak. They continuously learn. It turns out that you can only give what you have. They are learning the skills, how to communicate effectively, how to engage, how to even deliver humorous speeches so that they can continue impacting those that they want to help. In Leadership Speak, I also noted that the club is visible. They exercise credibility, accountability, but most importantly, they live and walk the talk. When I joined Leadership Speak, I was given a few guidelines on how the club operates. I was challenged because I was used to a certain way of doing things in a community club. But I realized that at Leadership Speak, there are several speeches, there are several evaluations. You evaluate the evaluator, and the evaluator evaluate the evaluator of the evaluator, and the chain goes on. They like sharing, but they also like ensuring that there is that credibility and accountability. Leadership Speak also is known worldwide. And given the fact that they are attaining the goals, members are always growing, it has been ranked as one of the top 5 clubs in the world. Leadership Speak did not only end there, it is also available in different social media platforms because they want to continue sharing what they have and what they can do. Leadership Speak is also impacting us as members. We have members who have been in this space for several years, and they are always available to coach, to mentor, and to ensure that we keep growing as leaders and communicators. When I delivered my first speech, I had about 4 different coaches, and all of them were nagging me that, Oltesh, send me your script so that we can assist you to deliver an effective speech. And I was encouraged, I was motivated. When a new member joins, everyone is reaching out to greet them and also to find out how can they help. And I felt the ownership. I felt that I belong here. I felt that everyone is interested to see me succeed, not only within the club, but also outside the club. And the most important part that really attracted me is the outcome and the impact that we are seeing within the members. I walked in a meeting, in a retreat event on Tuesday, and that was after flying overnight. I was tired, I was exhausted, and I just wanted to sit at the back and watch the retreat, rolls through the day. Little did I know that I was ready for another exciting day. The facilitator, the convener of the meeting said, Oltesh, we know that you have done, you're in Toastmasters. We know that you have done a few events, facilitating events. Can you please be our facilitator of today? Just making sure that we run through the meeting. I did not even blink. I just took the mic, got a brief of what was going to happen that day, and before I know, it was 5 p.m. for me to go home and relax. That is the value. Those are the fruits that we're seeing. I've also seen a few members in Leadership Speak who have grown in leaps and bounds because of the benefits that we're getting from this club. The training, the teachings that we see on YouTube, but also in these meetings, are transforming the world around. Now, as I finish, I want to reiterate and summarize the 5 levels of leadership. And these levels would also double up as action points that you might want to consider going forward. As I indicated during the opening, and also when I was talking about the leaders that I interviewed and Leadership Speak, we all need to live the values that we believe in. We're looking at respect, we're looking at integrity, we're looking at service, we're looking at excellence. But we're also looking at the perseverance, the hard work, the critical thinking that we need as individuals for us to grow, but also to be able to help those that are behind us and around us. It is also important that as leaders and communicators, we become and we learn all the time. Let's pick the skills, the competencies that we need for us to be able to move and shake the spaces that we belong. But most importantly, it is crucial for us to lead with credibility, with integrity, with visibility, to the extent that when you lead, you don't need to speak. When you lead, you don't need to shout, you don't need to give instructions. When you lead, you don't even need to say anything. When people see you, When people hear that you're in the space and you're in the room, they will start taking action. I'm talking about the influence that you exert in your area of influence. It is also important that we intentionally lift the lives of those around us. Someone said, as you rise, you need to lift. And I think we need to keep reminding ourselves of doing exactly the same. And this can be done in several ways. And it is also key and important that whatever we do, we leave a legacy. Because through a legacy, that's where impact comes in. So I want to go back to a tree that I displayed earlier on. And I want us to spend a few minutes by just watching this mango tree and look at that environment and look at the trunk, look at the branches, look at the leaves, but most importantly, let us look at the fruits. There are a lot of benefits that we can get if we lead from the ground up. When I looked at the environment, my work environment, and through the books that I read, I'm reminded that if you lead from the ground up, there's excellent performance in the institution. There's less conflict. Communication is smooth. There's more collaboration. There's more impact. I'm also reminded that if we lead from the ground, the legacy that we leave is transformational, is impactful, and will outlive each and every one of us. I would therefore like to request each and everyone, as indicated in the toast and during the introduction from the Toastmaster of the day, that let us continue living and leading from the ground up, because that is where transformation is. Back to you, Renan.
Thank you, Oltesh. Give a round of applause. Thank you, Oltesh, again for reminding us that true leadership begins at the ground level with people, purpose, and the presence. Your message challenged us to be intentional by staying connected to where we started, whether in our families, communities, or organizations. It's a powerful reminder that being grounded is not a limitation, but very foundation that allows leaders to create a meaningful and lasting impact. My key learning, or one key learning from my Toastmasters journey, is that leadership starts from the ground up. It begins with showing up, taking roles, and taking ownership of my growth long before a title is given. I started with self-leadership, preparing speeches, managing nerves, and improving through feedback. Then over time, I learned to influence others, supporting members, giving constructive feedback during the evaluation portion, and even one-on-one connect outside of the Toastmasters meeting, and leading by example without really a formal authority. Toastmasters, that's why I continue to be a Toastmaster, to be in Toastmasters, because it taught me that leadership grows where the work happens. Consistent action, reflection, and service build credibility and trust. That the sense of leading from the ground up. Lead by doing, learning, and serving one step at a time. Thank you. Now, I hope guests enjoy the learning we got from the thought of our theme of the day and from our education speaker. If you want to know, if you want to know more, I recommend filling up in your details in the digital guest book posted in the chat. So we will know you and get in touch with you for our upcoming events and meetings. All right, thank you. Now we will begin our prepared speeches. For today, we have 5 speakers or prepared speakers. Our first speaker is Paramjit Singh, who will deliver a speech under Visionary Communication Pathway, Level 2, Project Number 3, Introduction to Toastmasters Mentoring. Let's call on his evaluator, Renan, to read out the speech purpose of Toastmaster Paramjit.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Toastmaster of the Day, Renan. Ladies and gentlemen, today our speaker, Toastmaster Paramjit Singh, delivering speech from Visionary Communication Level 2, Project 3. The purpose of this project is for the member to clearly define how Toastmaster envisions mentoring. All the best to the speaker. Back to you, Toastmaster Renan.
Okay, thank you, Renan. Well, Toastmasters guest Paramjit is based in Dubai. He is a design and development manager, Toastmaster for 5 years, past area director, area and division winner in international and humorous speech contest. Please help me welcome Paramjit Singh, the mentor who came without an invitation. The mentor who came without an invitation, Paramjit Singh. Over to you.
Toastmaster taught us very powerful lessons. How to speak, how to lead, and most importantly, find a perfect mentor. Please raise your hands if you believe that in your success, a mentor was being instrumental. Thank you very much. Anyone, please raise your hand again if you listen to me. If any of the Toastmaster has got a mentor who was too much personal in his personal life, that is what, oh, thank you very much. Thank you, Holmes. That is what Toastmaster never warned about, how to handle such mentors. And I, in my life, never invited this mentor. I didn't put an ad on the Google, but it came to my life like a free Wi-Fi, full strength, zero security. The day I got married, my maternal uncle, he grabbed my shoulder, what I call is a mentor claw, and said to me, Paramjit, relax, your first marriage. I have experience. I have so many strategies to make you the king of the home. But believe me, he almost got the king checkmate. His first pearl of wisdom, Paramjit. 3 things matter in life: control, compromise, and remote control. If you have a remote control, you rule the universe. So one day, when my wife was watching her cooking show, I switched it on to my favorite sports channel and started watching football. She looked at me, she looked at the TV and smiled and said, "Enjoy your football." And believe me, after that day, I never found my remote control again. Not even the body, only ashes. The universe is not controlled by the remote. It is controlled by her mood. Next, he told me, "Paramjit, always be honest." And one day she got a new dress. She asked me, "Paramjit, how I looked in the dress?" Believe me, I was 100% honest. But still this hurt. Still this hurt very much because of the nails. So, honesty without sensitivity is like a foolishness with the zero surviving skills. His next nugget was wonderful. Always give surprise. It keeps the ignition alive. So on her birthday, I thought of giving her a surprise. I came home early. I changed all the settings, made the kidney beans and the rice her favorite dish. But when she came, she did not see my love. She saw a crime scene. The kidneys were burning. The fire alarm was buzzing. And I was like, "Surprise, surprise for you, ma'am, surprise." Oh my. And then she said, "Wow, what a surprise birthday gift. Natural disaster at home. Wow, wonderful." So this surprise didn't ignite the love, but almost burned my home down. And then another wonderful way he told me to conflict resolution. Never go to bed angry. Okay? Talk it out and then you go to bed. So for the first week, I was totally sleep deprived. And by the next week, I was not knowing what we were fighting for. It's good and very bad to go to bed with anger, but it is worse to go to bed 6 a.m. early in the morning every day. You may lose your job. And the last one she told me, "Paramjit, be a man. Don't be a slave. Go out in the night. Meet the friends. Enjoy. Come home late. And improve your value." So one day in the evening, I went out. I thought today I have a meeting. I roamed around all the way in the city. Came back home. Just up. My ego. Wow. And 100% my value increased. I opened the door. It was darkness, silence. And there was a message on the dining table. How was the meeting? Enjoy the leftover biryani. Eat it, wash the dishes. Good night. Have sweet dreams. And that day, I understood you can be a pawn, you can be a slave. But if you follow the wrong mentor, you're going to be the king of a empty house, eating cold biryani, as well as warm lessons. So my dear friend, I don't say that my mentor was wrong. He was putting me, training me for sometimes role. Or maybe I was not able to use his strategy properly. Because mentors are very powerful. Toastmaster mentors are very powerful. They increase your confidence. They build your career. And if you choose the wrong one, you can ruin your marriage also. Of course, the Toastmasters, when they mentor you with empathy, with heart, they teach you to become one of the best speakers, not only speakers, but a good human beings. So mentor, choose the right mentor, ask for the good mentor, talk. And I like to tell you that I have not stopped learning from the mentors, but I now know how to use these learnings. And to my self-appointed mentor, thank you for saving me from burning my home, putting my remote to ashes. But certainly you gave me wonderful lessons to survive, not only to survive, but to thrive. Thank you very much. Over to you, Toastmaster of the Day.
Thank you, Paramjit. The title of the speech, it reminds me that the true leadership notices potential before it is even asked for. In a Toastmasters journey, this kind of mentor can make a lasting difference by stepping in at the right moment to guide, encourage, and uplift. All right. Now let's move on to the next speaker, second speaker, Lydiah Wanjiku. Lydiah will deliver a speech under Engaging Humor Pathway, Level 1 Speech Project number 5, Evaluation and Feedback. For the purpose statement, let's spotlight the evaluator, Nelly Ayodo, to know what Lydiah is going to do. Nelly?
Good afternoon, fellow Toastmasters. Lydiah today will be attempting the project Evaluation and Feedback. It's a second evaluation. The purpose of this project is for Lydiah to practice applying feedback and serve as a speech evaluator during the club meeting. The purpose of this speech is for Lydiah to demonstrate the ability to deliver an effective, respectful speech evaluation. Back to you, Renan.
Thank you, Nelly. Lydiah is an HR professional and BP in WFP, RB, and Toastmasters Club in Kenya. Please help me welcome Lydiah Wanjiku. Fuel for growth. Lydiah Wanjiku. Over to you.
Fellow Toastmasters and our distinguished guests, have you ever been in a situation where you are driving your car and all of a sudden you realize you don't have fuel and there's no any gas station near that place? If it has ever happened to you, just show me with an emoji. Thank you, Irfan. I see you. I'm not alone. Thank you, Singh. Several people. This happened to me. Thank you very much. I love driving. One of the fine days, what I did, I decided the following day we will drive to go up country with my family. At that particular time, I was all alone there. And we were supposed to go with the driver, but this time the driver failed us. So I told myself, Lydiah, prove yourself you can drive the car. What did I do? I made sure everything was okay, and we started driving the following day. I forgot to look at the gauge. And that one made me not to enjoy my drive from point A to B. In the middle of my drive, the car started jogging and I got shocked. I looked at the gauge. It was even blinking. The lights were on. Then I just drove slowly because it was jogging. So I had to drive outside the road slowly. Then the car that was behind me noted this a lady with children, then veered off the road and stopped. And then other car that was also following, because the alarm was on and also the lights were blinking. So I had two cars behind me and they were very grateful because they all came out and I told them the problem I'm having. One of them decided to drive for 40 kilometers to get me fuel. The car, again, we started our journey. After some 20 kilometers, this time it was not even jogging, it stopped and stopped completely. That is the time I felt as if I had done something very bad. But the thing was, the fuel was not good fuel. After we called a mechanic to come and check the engine was already bad. It could not be rectified at all. The mechanic, after towing the car, told us that vehicle engine was already gone. And shock on me. I had not even told my husband that I was going to drive all that alone. What happened? This time, I had to call him. I wanted to surprise him by being in point B where he was. But I surprised myself because he had to send a mechanic. The mechanic came and then I had to get an engine to fix the car. Why am I talking about these stories of fuel and me driving the car? It's because in Toastmasters, we do give speeches. And the feedback that we get from our evaluators, that is the fuel that makes us to become better communicators, better leaders. So, fellow Toastmasters, what happens if at all you become the person who was kind enough but came with a fuel that was of low quality? Did this fuel help me? No. That fuel messed me up. It damaged my engine. So I was better off stopping there and calling for someone to come with good fuel so that I'm able to start my journey again. So when we give poor quality feedback, we are damaging the speaker because the speaker will not grow. And it can be very expensive, just like the way my car, it became a very expensive drive. I paid dearly, but finally it was rectified. Just as Ken Blanchard once said, feedback is the breakfast of champions. So when we are giving feedback, let us be honest, let us give quality feedback, and we'll be able to grow our fellow Toastmasters members. And that is what normally happens in leadership speak. We get quality feedback. Before this, we give the speech, we always get in touch with our evaluators, and we are able to perfect ourselves and our speeches when we are giving them. Just as I said, fuel for growth. When you're giving your feedback, remember that quality feedback is like good quality fuel that you're giving to the speaker. Back to you, Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you, Lydiah, for the wonderful and inspirational speech. Growth really is fueled by continuous learning, feedback, and courage to step outside of our comfort zone. When we stay open to guidance and experience, we turn challenges into momentum for improvement. All right, now let's move on to the third speaker, Irfan Farooqui, who will deliver a speech under Motivational Strategies Path Level 3 Project Number 5, Connect with Storytelling. Let's put on the spotlight the evaluator, Pulkit Gupta, to read out the purpose statement. Pulkit, what will the speaker do?
Thank you, Toastmaster Day, Toastmaster Renan. So it's a level 3 project from the Pathway Motivational Strategies. The project is titled Connect with Storytelling, and the project objective is to deliver a speech which is a story or a story within a speech. When I connected with Irfan, he requested me to evaluate based on the evaluation objectives as mentioned in the sheet itself. There's no extra or additional request placed by him. So I will definitely abide by that. I wish Irfan all the best. Over to you, Renan.
Okay, thank you, Pulkit. Irfan is a storyteller who finds philosophies of life using his 40 years of experience in the professional business world. Let me welcome Irfan Farooqui, Positive Reinforcement, Irfan Farooqui. Take it away.
There is a Persian saying, Sag bosh, berodre khurt me bosh, meaning, better be a dog than a younger brother. Fellow Toastmasters, when I was in school, I was always compared to my older brother and nearly always made to feel ashamed that I wasn't reaching his level of intelligence or his organized lifestyle, both at home and at school. Let me know who else has also gone through the comparison dilemma. Anyone else here? Yeah. Thank you very much, Angelo. Thank you very much. Yes, thank you, Irene. My elder brother, he was always dressed in a neat, well-ironed school uniform, and I, many a time, in an untidy, 3 days old ruined dress. He was the first to reach the school, and I was, if not the last, then at least never in time. When he was attending the school assembly, standing in the first row, I was standing in the playground, waiting for my turn to receive the punishment for being late. 2 stick slaps on each hand. In every class, he will present his copies to the teacher completely and neatly done. And me, the same stick. Every summer, we had 2 months of summer vacation. The teachers loved to ruin our holidays by giving so much homework that it wasn't even easy for my studious brother, who used to start it early in the morning and keep at it till late in the afternoon. I was always comparing the study load against the opportunities to play and enjoy life. And my decision was always to enjoy the vacations. On returning to school, the result? Nothing new. My same old friend. The teacher's stick. The dose, however, was quite higher in each subject this time. Dear friends, this continued until I reached the 10th grade. A new teacher, Sir Zayyad, joined as our English teacher. On the first weekend, he advised us to remember the summaries of 5 English poems that we had to recite in the Monday class. For me, there was nothing new in it, and so I did not bother to read the poems, let alone remember the summaries by heart. On Monday, the teacher started listening to the summaries. Student number 1, have you memorized? No, sir. Come out and stand with the blackboard. 2, have you? Yes, sir. Okay. Recite me the summary of daffodils. By the time it was my turn, some 7 or 8 students were already standing against the blackboard. And when the teacher said, Irfan, I, without letting him complete his question, said, no, sir, and rose from my seat to join my punishment waiting friends. Sir Zayyad paused for a second and looked at me with a disbelief and said, how bad? Irfan, today I have to forgo everyone just because of you. Then he turned his face towards the culprits. You all go back, take your seats. While standing in the middle of the class, I heard a glass shattering in my heart. I was astonished. Everyone is forgiven because of me? Am I so important? Am I somebody? That day, ladies and gentlemen, a new Irfan emerged from the ashes of the old Irfan. A neat, tidy, organized, and studious Irfan who took ownership of his life in his own hands. I studied so seriously that on the final exam, I got the exact same marks that my older brother had obtained at his time. Ladies and gentlemen, we all face a moment in our lives when someone we care about is not following the norms and destroying his life. Sometimes we use negative reinforcement and believe that the punishment will straighten them out. What we should understand is that the positive reinforcement of caring, empathy, and self respect is the best way to bring about positive change in their lives. Empathy can succeed where punishment fails. Back to you, Toastmaster of the Day.
Thank you, Irfan, for that inspiring speech and for highlighting that positivity reinforcement is more than encouragement. It's a powerful motivator. By boosting self-respect, you reminded us that people are more likely to embrace positivity and grow when they feel valued and respected. Again, thank you, Irfan. Now, moving on to the fourth speaker, Buhari Zayyad, who will deliver a speech under Motivational Strategies Pathway Level 3, project number 14, Understanding Vocal Variety. Let's put on spotlight the evaluator, Echlin Mock, to read out the purpose statement. Lynn, please share what Toastmaster Buhari will do.
Thank you, TMOD. Hello, fellow Toastmasters and distinguished guests. Toastmaster Buhari will deliver the project of Level 3 elective of Visionary Communication Pathway. The purpose of this project is for the member to practice using vocal variety or body language to enhance a speech. The speech length lasts between 5 to 7 minutes. Back to you, TMOD.
Thank you, Toastmaster Lynn. Fellow Toastmasters and guests, Buhari is a public speaking enthusiast who has a keen interest in motivating and inspiring. In leadership, he has held the position of VP or Vice President for Education and President of Gemstone's Toastmasters Club. He served as Area Director, number 32, AD 32, and now a distinguished Toastmaster. He loves martial arts, where he holds a green in Shotokan Karate. Buhari Zayyad, no more doubts. No more doubts. Buhari Zayyad. Over to you, Buhari.
Thank you, the Toastmaster of the day. I want to confirm if you can hear and see me.
Yes.
When I was a kid, I loved football so much. Every day, I wanted to play. But when teams were selected, no one chose me. I wasn't good enough. And that rejection left a mark in my heart. I felt embarrassed, out of place. No one wants to play with me as a teammate. Nobody encouraged me. And every mistake I made in the field was met with insults. So I stopped going to the field. That experience stuck with me. But as I grew older, I had a realization that I don't need anybody's permission to grow. I decided to replace going to the football pitch with reading. But guess what? People laughed at me for buying many books. They said that buying books is a waste of money. Why will I use money to buy the books that at the end of the day, I wouldn't have any benefit out of it? Yet again, they made me doubt myself. If I let the echo of the football field and castigating me of not being able to play football well happen to me again in buying and reading books, that will stop a lot of vision and power in me. Every book I read every book I opened showed me new words, new skills, and new perspectives. I've read books like No Excuses by Brian Tracy, where I learned never to doubt myself. I read Failing Forward by John C. Maxwell, who has given me another perspective of what failure means, that I never fail in anything. Rather, I learn from it. Harold C. Dweck's book, Mindset, has made me to realize that mindset is divided into two: the fixed mindset and the growth mindset. And I imbibe the growth mindset in my life and whatever I do. Have you ever thought about what ideas you could unlock by reading books? These books changed my mind in a way. I spoke with minds that I will never meet in life. The voices that are waiting to speak to you are in those books. Let anyone stop you and put doubt in you. Then I took on martial arts. If no one wants to play with me in a football team, then of course I should get something else. At first, it felt like football all over again. People said I was chubby, that I couldn't do any techniques of martial arts. But I kept going and going, day by day, fighting those doubts that people put into my heart by fighting them with my bare hands. And today, I am a karate. Martial arts demanded discipline. Karate demanded consistency from me. Can you imagine showing up at dawn, trying to wear my gi and my belt when every muscle was aching? I pushed past the impossibilities, all the doubts that I had in the moment. Sometimes I nearly passed out. This lesson of pushing the doubts away, not only for me. This lesson has happened to my younger brother, who felt he wasn't a brilliant student that could fall in the A grade. And I pushed him not to allow the doubts of people stick to his head. And at the end of the day, he graduated, one of the best graduating students. And he said to me, what you told me pushed me to be where I am. Your story might not be about football, or maybe it might not be about martial arts. And of course, maybe you were never told that you couldn't succeed in martial arts because of how chubby you are. In your career, in your personal life, and in your business, you have those that put in your mind. What dream did you set aside because of someone's opinion of you? Now imagine if you picked up again, not to prove anything to anyone, but to prove to yourself that you can grow. What's take today, even if it is imperfect? Your future self will thank you for pushing away the doubts to be who you are meant to be. So I ask you today, have you ever abandoned a dream because of what others said or did to you? Imagine what you could achieve if you silenced those voices. Listen to your heart. Choose growth and give yourself the freedom. Start imperfectly and thank later. I say to you today, no more doubts in your career. No more doubts in your personal life. and you would see the results. Back to you, the truth of the.
Thank you, Buhari, for reminding us that when we choose courage over doubt. Your message inspires us to have move forward with confidence, trusting ourselves and our purpose. Thank you. And now moving on to our last speaker, Robin Stone, who will deliver a speech under engaging humor path level 3, project number 14 rather, using descriptive language to read out the purpose statement. Let call on the evaluator, Kanav Huria. Over to you, Kanav.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the day. My target speaker is going to attempt a speech of level 3, project 14, and of the pathway engaging humor. The purpose of the speech is to writing a speech with the emphasis on adding language to increase interest and impact. So how well he is using language is what I'm going to look after. That I'll be coming back whenever the general evaluators calls me back to the Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you, Kanav. Fellow Toastmasters and guest, Robin said, I am trying to be funny, so please keep your cameras on so can see you laughing. Robin Stone. Robin Stone. Take it away, Robin.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster of the day. And ladies and gentlemen and guests, I'm going to take you back 35 years. All right, I know that some of you were toddlers, and some of you probably hadn't even been born then. But eventually you'll get there and start getting gray hair like me. I want to tell you about a walk I did. I was with my teenage son, who now is probably older than most of you. And he's in his 40s. He's a big man. He's bigger than me, taller than me, bigger in every aspect. So we are walking from a farm or on a farm down to the beach. Yes, we're on holiday. It's a lazy summer afternoon. It's a beautiful day. We're walking through a forested area. There's a canopy of trees, birds nesting in the trees. Really a wonderful, wonderful atmosphere. As we weave our way down the valley, there are cows. There's a herd of cows, dairy cows. Let me tell you something. If I'm totally honest with you, I'm actually a little bit scared of cows. I don't know about you. You know, as you walk past, they sort of fix their beady eyes on you and sort of one hurries just a little bit faster. But I was enjoying the time with my son and engaging in convivial conversation, something that we seldom had the chance to do. In a far corner of the field, there was a bull. Now, this path was actually used by quite a lot of people for the walk down to the beach. So I wasn't too concerned, but still kept a wary eye on the bull also. And yes, resting on the grass, there were 2 Jack Russell dogs, and they were just enjoying the summer heat? Well, in a split second, everything changed. And my son still talks about what happened to this day. Guess what it was? I sneezed. Now, let me tell you something. 35 years ago, I was very, very proud of my ability to let out a huge sneeze. I was a sort of person, and I am not exaggerating, I would go, if we were in a shopping center, I would go up behind unsuspecting strangers, doing a bit of window shopping maybe, and just let it out and enjoy watching them just jump out of their skins. It was an amazing experience. You know, I've sneezed all over the world. I remember I was in the United States one day. It was November, and it happened to be at Halloween. Now, let me tell you, if you're not in the United States, one thing you need to know, they take Halloween very, very seriously. And so there's a lot of dressing up. There are pumpkins all over the place with candles in them and so on. Halloween is a big deal. Yeah. Guess what happened? I was attending a function at the Hilton Hotel. Hilton hotels are basically just a big box with a whole lot of little boxes inside. But anyway, I was at a Hilton Hotel and they were having a Halloween party, dress-up party. And well, you can guess what happened. And I didn't mean to do it. But yes, I was in the lift, elevator, and I let it out. And the ladies just about had their wigs blown off and their costumes. Instead of losing their skin, they lost their costumes. And they would make very rude comments about me, saying how uncouth I was. Well, back to my story. When I sneezed in this valley, the valley amplified my already huge sneeze about 100 times. There was total chaos. That's all I can say. The canopy of trees exploded as the resting birds suddenly left their nests and flew, not knowing what on earth had happened, as though somebody had fired a gun. The dogs, not knowing what had happened either, attacked the cows, and the cows started stampeding. They stampeded right down the valley towards the beach. It was absolute wonderful chaos. And of course, the bull. Yes, the bull there actually saw what was happening and charged as well. This was frightening stuff. This was scary and terrifying for all of us. Kind of survived, and we never forgot it. My son and I often talk about that day of the experience in the valley. And it reminds me of something which I think is important for all of us. We really need to take ownership of our memories. These kind of memories are the memories that actually create family. They create bonding. It was a wonderful experience. And I don't do this anymore. I miss it, you know. I don't have the sneeze anymore. I give a little, little sneeze. But those days, I had this huge sneeze. It was absolutely great. And so, Mr. Toastmaster, back to you.
Thank you, Robin. That was so hilarious and insightful at the same time. We definitely walk away with a smile and takeaway we won't forget. All right. So to our guest, thank you for being part of our meeting today. We hope you enjoy the speeches, the energy, and the spirit of Toastmasters. If something today sparked your interest, made you smile, or made you think, we'd love to hear from you. Please take a moment to sign our digital guest book. It's simple way for us to stay connected and for you to take one small step toward your journey in communication and leadership. Please stay as we may call you later to give feedback to us before the end of our meeting. Before I hand over the virtual lectern to our general evaluator, may I kindly ask our timer, Renan Gosh, to post the timer report in our chat box, and the Zoom master to launch, please, the poll for the best effort speaker. Now waiting for the poll. Okay, so I see it. You can select your. Do you think the best in you or the best speaker for you? But while you are selecting your or choosing your best speaker, so fellow Toastmasters and guests, after listening to all speakers today, one thing is clear. Leadership doesn't start at the top. It starts where the work happens. Again, like in our own Toastmasters journey, leadership grows long before a title appears. It grows as we take our ownership of our growth, support others, and lead by example. So let's remember, lead with intention, take ownership, serve with purpose, and build influence from the ground up. One speech, one role, one action at a time. So for our guest, filling in your details in our digital guest book, because this is the first step. All right. Now, so we're moving to the general evaluator portion. So our general evaluator is Nelly Jane Galido from Philippines, who believes that leading from the ground up is our reminder that leadership starts before the spotlight, right in the small, brave choices we make every day. Please help me welcome the visionary. Please welcome our general evaluator, Toastmaster Nelly Jane Galido. Over to you, Nelly.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Renan, for that warm introduction. Morning. Hi, good afternoon, good evening, fellow Toastmasters, and especially welcome to our guest. I am your general evaluator, and I will be overseeing the evaluation segment for our meeting. First, I will call on a team of dedicated evaluators to give feedback to our speakers. Then, I will call on our role players for the reports. And finally, I'll take ownership of sharing my overall evaluation of the meeting. Let's go from the ground up. So we'll start with the toast, Mamadou. And he will evaluate the toast delivered by Holmes. He is an aviation professional, an advocacy expert, trainer, and executive leadership and business coach. For him, leading from the ground up means doing the smallest foundational task well, because strong structures grow from unseen foundations. And that is ownership. Over to you, Mamadou.
Thank you, Madam GE. Holmes, for the toast. You were called to meet the demand of the moment, and you truly showed up. You step in with confidence, and you showed ownership. You own the moment, you own the space, you own the time, and you own the role. And you delivered in such a meaningful way. I love, yeah, it was really great that you used your voice, your hand gestures, and it was somehow like you were playing a drama. The message, the toast was not only structured, but you structured the different elements of the speech, the voice, the words, the hand gestures. And as I said, almost like in a drama, your message was powerful, with confidence. You just, as I rightly said, you just met the demand of the moment. And there was some alliterations, like you said, confidence, credibility. And in F, you said fine foundation. And it was so clear and so engaging. You anchored the experience for all of us when you reminded us that we anchor ourselves in the experience and in the learning. And again, the repetition, like in alliteration, you said we bring the credibility, we bring the trust, we bring it makes your speech not only memorable, but you yourself even more memorable as a speaker. And leading from the ground up, you set the foundation for the meeting to be in a very good energy. So you lifted us up and raised our expectation, and we enjoyed the moment. It was a real treat. And what stood out was that you mastered and again owned the space throughout the toast. And toward the end, there was a brief moment that suggested that there was a small distraction toward the end. It might be the mask, the mic or the audio, but that did not affect the clarity, the impact of the toast. So again, thank you and well done for a confident, powerful, and energizing toast. Back to you, Madam G.
Oh, thank you so much, Mamadou. That is a truly good evaluation. And what I truly admired in your evaluation was your confidence and how you owned the space the moment you spoke. Your tone felt respectful, supportive, uplifting. And it's a perfect way of recognizing the toast. You highlighted what worked well and did so with warmth, which helped the speaker feel celebrated. And to own your evaluation even more, you might try adding one clear, actionable point of improvement next time. Maybe one small seed your speaker can grow from. But overall, you modeled leadership from the ground up. Gentle, grounded, gracious. Beautiful job. Thank you so much. So we will now go to our Toastmaster of the Day. The evaluator for our Toastmaster of the Day, Renan, is Terrence Wary. For Terrence, leading from the ground up means empowering the team to make decisions and grow. And that tells me that is ownership and leadership. Over to you, Terrence.
Thank you, Toastmaster Nelly Jen. Renan, leading an online meeting or facilitating an online session. You excelled at several areas that I want to share, and a few tips on how we can go to the next level. The first thing that was effective in engaging with your audience was the introduction. Right from introducing the topic of the day or the theme of the day, you engaged us and you gave us a personal story that enabled us to relate with it, and beyond that, to see the relevance of why we should continue with the meeting. The various aspects of the meeting were also well explained so that anyone joining at any time or anyone joining right from the start could know what to expect. And I hope that those who had your call from the beginning are still on the call so that they can interact with the team later on. Something else I also found effective in your delivery was the fact that you were actively listening. This was demonstrated by the way you summarized the points, the key takeaway, the points that you took from the various speeches. That showed a form of collaboration with the speakers so that the speech does not simply end at the last word, but it continues to ring in our minds beyond the speech. To challenge yourself, Renan, as a speaker, there are a few areas you can learn from. And as we are growing as leadership is growing leading from the ground up, let's start from the ground, the things that you can touch, the things that you can control. The first thing, I wanted to demonstrate this with my own example. You can see I'm still having the flags. So your video presence, if you could change it during the times when you're speaking. I know I have, yes, here I go. This is the one I intended to have. So the background, you can always change your background, especially when you're speaking, so that we focus on you and not on the background. You can put the background back on when you go back behind the stage. The second thing in your delivery that I would encourage you to grow a seed from is on the vocal variety. I know it's a struggle for many men and many other people who want to deliver different messages at different points, but they struggle with that monotone. And what ends up happening is that it drains the energy from the meeting. Remember, as the Toastmaster of the day, you set the pace. And so when that happens, the rest of the meeting ends up matching or going below that space. So in summary, I commend you on your delivery in terms of the introduction of the guest of the meeting outline, acknowledging the various areas, and you can improve or you can move to the next level through working on your Zoom presence and your monotone. That is the energy level. Thank you, and back to you, General Evaluator.
Oh, thank you so much, Terrence. I love how you owned the structure of your evaluation. You started with what you appreciated, then moved into the areas to grow, and even offered how to improve, and ended with a summary of your entire evaluation. What made your evaluation strong was your sincerity. You sounded like someone who wanted Renan to succeed. And to own your clarity even more, maybe try getting the improvement point a bit sooner so your message lands with extra power. You put on the improvement point while it is already yellow. So still, your feedback was thoughtful, balanced, and motivating. Well done. Thank you so much. So now we will go to our educational speaker. Our educational speaker, Oltesh, will be evaluated by Nicole White. Nicole is in pursuit of continued excellence. She believes leadership begins at ground zero and grows upward, step by step. Over to you, Nicole.
Thank you, Madam General Evaluator. As our keynote speaker shared, as we rise, we need to lead. Oltesh, you delivered an informational and motivating keynote speech with a clear central message: the importance of leading from the ground up to foster collaboration and create a transformative legacy. From the very beginning, you captured the audience's attention by opening with a question and anchoring your message with a powerful visual: the mango tree loaded with mangoes. That image worked beautifully as a metaphor. You walked us through what the tree endures to produce fruit, reinforcing the idea that strong leadership is built from the ground up, not from top down. There are two other areas where you excelled: your structure and content alignment. Your title was clear and your message remained consistent throughout. Your opening was exemplary, engaging, visual, and purposeful. You effectively use the mango tree metaphor and reinforced it with a personal example of what leading from the ground up looks like in practice. In addition, your concise takeaways from the 3 leaders or influencers you interviewed, they were clear, relevant, and added depth and credibility to your message. And finally, your presence and delivery. You spoke with confidence and a strong command of the stage. Your body language, particularly your hand gestures and facial expressions, was natural and engaging. And your eye contact was excellent, and it was very clear that you achieved one of your stated goals: speaking without relying on notes. Your delivery came alive through intentional pacing, effective pauses, and your voice modulation. Moments where you emphasize key leadership traits such as integrity, communication, and emotional intelligence were especially impactful, supported by clear inflection and purposeful expression. Now, to take this already strong speech even further, I have 2 recommendations. First, the section on the 5 levels of leading from the ground up could be sharpened for clarity. Your ideas felt compressed with many choices of words when you got to that section of your speech. I heard values, respect, integrity, service, hardworking, and the list went on. This section could be more impactful by clearly outlining the 5 levels using accounting strategy, allowing the audience to follow and retain each level more easily. And last, your Zoom presence could be enhanced with a more stable lighting, because there were some instances, it was flickering throughout, which can be distracting on the screen. A quick lighting check before presenting would elevate an already polished virtual presence. In summary, you delivered strong content, demonstrated excellent presence, and used effective gestures and metaphors to reinforce your message. With clearer framing of your key leadership levels and improved lighting, this speech would be even more powerful. All the best as you prepare for the world stage, Oltesh. Back to you, Madam General Evaluator.
Thank you so much, Nicole. That evaluation had such a gentle strength. You spoke with grace, with clarity, and real ownership of your role. I love how you started with a key takeaway, gave a clear summary of the speech, and then shared the areas for improvement and how to do it. The structure made your feedback easy to follow and very meaningful. What truly stood out was your calm presence, and you made your feedback feel safe, supportive, inspiring, and to grow even more. There's one small way you can shine brighter in Zoom. Your hand gesture that's very visible, and I know you're using your hand gesture. Maybe take a small step back from the screen so we can see more of you in action. With that, your presence will really match the power of your words. Beautiful work, Nicole. Keep owning your growth. Thank you so much. So we'll move on to our next speaker. I want to welcome Renan and he will be evaluating our speaker, Paramjit. Mrinal is a dedicated Toastmaster and a market access manager at GlaxoSmithKline Pharmaceuticals. He is passionate about learning, self-care, and growth. Over to you, Mrinal.
Madam General Evaluator, fellow Toastmasters, and dear guest. Today, I have joyful duty to evaluating the speech delivered by Toastmaster Paramjit on the project Introduction to Toastmaster Mentoring. Evaluating a speech on mentoring is a tricky job because if I evaluate poorly, Paramjit might need a mentor just to recover from my evaluation. So, what worked really well for Paramjit? First of all, Paramjit made mentoring sound more essential than morning coffee. He beautifully compared a mentor to Google, Wi-Fi, remote control, and blah, blah, blah. I love the idea because without a mentor, many of us Toastmaster is just like a mobile phones with no internet, lots of potential, but no directions. Second, the speech was highly relatable for me. The practical example and real life comparison made the concept of mentoring more easy to understand. When Paramjit said that choosing the right mentor is important, it felt almost like choosing the right life partner. Choose wisely or suffer lately. That's brought the nice touch of humor. And third, the audience connection was excellent. Asking the audience to raise hand and participate keep everyone engaged. The speech felt like a formal presentation and more like a friendly conversation. And most importantly, the speaker clearly achieved the project objective, explaining what mentoring is and why it is valuable for the Toastmaster. Some areas for fine-tuning for Toastmaster Paramjit, a better structure. The speech had many wonderful ideas, but they were slightly scattered, like too many apps open on the mobile screen. A clear flow, introduction, benefits, conclusion would make me more message sharper. Second, you're explaining an analogs. The comparison like a remote control, the king of game. We are creative, funny, but a little more explanation would help audience fully understand the deeper meaning. And third, not the least, pacing. At times, Paramjit spoke a bit fast, like a train trying to reach the station before a time. A few well paused would increase the impact for both the humor and also message. So overall conclusion, it was an engaging, thoughtful, and lively speech that truly highlighted the power of mentoring. With a little more organized, slower delivery, Paramjit can turn this good speech into a great one. Paramjit, you proved today that a good mentor shapes a good speaker, and a good speaker makes an evaluator jobs easy. Thank you. Over to you, General Evaluator.
Thank you so much. Renan, You showed real ownership in growth of your evaluation, and you clearly listened with intention, and your feedback reflected the care for the speaker's journey, not just the performance. You point out important aspects of the speech, give summary of the speech, and some areas of recommendations. Your words felt sincere and encouraging, which makes the speaker feel safe to grow, and you own your impact even more. You could sharpen your suggestions on those areas of improvements to so the speaker will feel more actionable. You also need to take note of the time, but overall, you stepped up with confidence and compassion. And that's great leadership energy. Thank you so much for now. And so we'll go on to Nelly Ayudo, which will evaluate our second speaker, Lydia. For Nelly, leadership is about connecting from the bottom up, listening deeply, and collaborating openly. Over to you, Nelly.
Thank you very much, General Evaluator Nelly. Lydia, my takeaway from your speech is that we need to give good quality feedback to the speaker or to whoever we are advising. You used fuel for growth as an example of evaluations in Toastmasters. The fuel is the evaluation, and if it's bad fuel, if you get bad evaluations, you don't grow. Your speech demonstrated ownership in narrating. You motivated us to check on our cars before we take a long journey or we take up a long trip. From your opening line, you captured our attention by narrating about your journey and the misfortunes that you experienced and the good Samaritans that came your way, but brought you fuel that did not add value to your car. Let me highlight the areas that you excelled at. You had very good pace in narrating your story, and this gave your speech a strong delivery, and it kept the audience engaged. I like the way you started with audience engagement. That was very commendable. Your speech was motivating. Your project is about engaging humor. My recommendation is that you needed to add more humor when evaluating this project. It had very good lessons, but maybe you would have added humor to it, humorous language to it, to give it more strong delivery. You had asked me to look out for gestures. Your gestures were very natural and meaningful. You had very good eye contact that helped build trust, and you connected very well with the audience. Your comfort level on the camera made your speech feel natural and relatable. My recommendation is that add tonal variety. In humorous speeches, especially if you're online, you need to use your voice to bring out the humor. In summary, you had good audience engagement. You demonstrated good qualities of an advanced speaker. Work on your tonal variety to enhance humor in your speech. I look forward to seeing your speech evolve. Back to you, Nelly, our general evaluator.
Thank you so much, Nelly, our speaker to evaluator. And I really love how you own the structure evaluation. You shared what worked, the areas that light up, and what could grow. And this will really make your evaluation easy to follow and truly helpful. What made your evaluation shine was your clarity and sincerity. You weren't just giving your comments, you were also giving direction. And to own your zone presence even more, maybe try looking straight into the camera or into the screen rather than sideways. Maybe place your notes in front of the screen or make it into the eye level so we could feel more connected to you. Overall, you showed great leadership at heart. Well done, Nelly. And with that, I would like to call on Pulkit. Pulkit Gupta will evaluate our third speaker, Irfan Farooqui. Pulkit believes that leadership is about showing up and taking ownership of growth, even when it's challenging. Over to you, Pulkit.
Thank you so much, General Evaluator Nelly. Better be a dog than be a younger brother. Since I am also a younger brother, that hurt Irfan. But it hurt in a positive way, in a fun way. When speakers tend to use heavy sounding foreign language, audiences expect something profound. So when Irfan brought in this line, better be a dog than be a younger brother, I definitely was smiling and was pulled into the speech. Well done, Irfan. Most storytellers know that characters breathe life into the story. But most storytellers stop there. They do not allow the character to be known, to be seen, and to be heard. But Irfan, being a pro storyteller, did not fall in that trap. When he brought his elder brother, he used a contrast strategy to rapidly paint a vivid picture of his brother. Using contrast like uniform, spotless was uniform bad, in the first row versus punishment in the playground, neat copies versus getting a stick. That contrast painted a vivid picture of differences between him and his brother, and both characters were clear. Well done. The story stayed true to a central message. Empathy leads to positive reinforcement, and positive reinforcement can change life. That was clear. But let me reinforce your storytelling skills, Irfan, by offering some evaluative suggestions. In storytelling, we often say, if you bring a dog, ensure it bites. If you bring a gun, ensure it goes off. If you bring a character, ensure it has a pivotal role. You do paint a vivid picture of your elder brother, but with all due respect, towards the end, your elder brother is reduced to be a yardstick. You got same marks as your brother, story end. That felt like a little off. Your brother did not get any chance to play a pivotal role in your story. I can draw a parallel to a story I heard from a speaker titled Why Me, who won second place in the Toastmasters semifinals. He had similar dynamics of his younger brother being better than him. Gets a better girlfriend, his parents are more lenient. But towards the end of his speech, during the redemption segment, he mentions that his brother, he never asked why me when he held his younger brother in his arms. So why does he still ask why me? Done. His younger brother is now elevated as a character because he has helped him transform. The second recommendation, Irfan, is your speech has a big if, a big unanswered question. Why did Mr. Zayyad choose you specifically to transform? Why was he lenient on you? Why did he have more empathy for you? That part never gets answered. Even if you do not know the answer, Zayyad, it's good to close the loop by saying that I still wonder why he chose me. But I vow to give it forward. You bring an element of acceptance, but it's important to close the loop. So in hindsight, let not there be an unanswered question. It's important to close the loop. Character importance matters, but you had a central clear message, vivid character development, and the clever deception at the start. And I'm sure, say, Irfan, if you keep on reinforcing your storytelling skills. The world awaits you. Over to you, General Value Nelly.
Thank you so much, Pulkit. You truly own your role by highlighting powerful quotes and memorable moments from the speech. You also give clear areas for improvements and examples on how to do it, on how the speaker could grow. Your ideas were strong. To own your delivery even more, just fit them into the clock so your message will land well. You showed courage, insight, and growth mindset, and that is really an excellent work. Thank you so much, Pulkit. With that, I would like to call on our next evaluator, Helene. Helene will evaluate our forward speaker, Buhari. She believes that leadership begins with responsibility and care, especially when no one is watching. Over to you, Helene.
Thank you. Buhari, today your project focused on using vocal variety to enhance your message. From the beginning, your delivery immediately captured our attention. My takeaway is rejections doesn't define your limits. Your response to it does. Growth begins the moment you stop listening to those and start choosing yourself. And no one has to believe in your first. You do. In terms of vocal variety, your ownership of pace and pitch was particularly effective. For example, when you describe some specific moments like every mistake I make, you spoke slowly. It helped emphasize your message. And another example, it felt like football again. I can feel your strong emotion that kept the audience engaged. One opportunity for growth is to be even more intentional with your pauses. At times when you make questions, for example, what do you need? What's take today? Have you ever abandoned a dream because of what others said or did to you? Immediately, you continue your speech. And I didn't listen pauses, which slightly reduced the impact of your message. So to strengthen this, I suggest you make better pauses. For example, in your questions, pauses 2 seconds. This will allow your audience to reflect and give the audience time to observe them. Other things, in your body language, I suggest you to move behind more your body so the audience can see your movement, because I only see your face and a little bit your hand, when you emphasize the message. Overall, with continued focus on refining your vocal variety and body language, your speeches will become even more compelling. Thank you for an engaging presentation, and I look forward to seeing your continued growth. Back to you, General Evaluator Nelly Yen.
Helene, your evaluation was really a joy to listen to. You began with a strong takeaway, a glimpse of the speech, shared areas to grow, and ended with a clear summary of the entire evaluation. Your Zoom presence and voice were especially powerful, and they really help your message feel confident and sincere. You were inspiring, composed, and impactful. That's really a wonderful job. Thank you so much, Helene. So now I would like to call on the 5th evaluator, Kanav, who will evaluate Robin's tone. Kanav shared, what you do or what you don't do trains your mind. So keep showing up. Over to you, Kanav.
Thank you, General Evaluator. The key takeaway of Toastmaster Robin's speech was owning your memories. And he gave a beautiful memory of his, and starting with humor, that we were not born. Most of us were not there. I was not born, especially me. I was not born 35 years ago. So kudos to you on the humor part. He did add language as to humor. So he talked about what happened. He sneezed. So that added a lot of humor. And he was talking about in a humorous tone. So good job on that. Coming to certain recommendation which can be given is that whenever you are trying to describe something, either try to add humor, or if there is no humor, remove it. Like you were describing Halloween, and Halloween is a thing which has pumpkins. So which you said like that. If you are adding it for the humor purposes, make sure that it lands. If it does not land, try to remove it. So the structure becomes clearer and your main joke, which is sneezing, comes out much better. So Halloween, Hilton, there was few examples which you talked about which were unnecessary to the speech. That can be removed, and you had a really good gestures and certain things, and what can be else be improved is having a good usage of your hand movements by describing cows, and they had a stampede, so you can give that they run, so that will make it more funnier. Overall, I felt that the speech was really funny, and the key message of owning your memories was really good. And that makes us remember our memories. And if you could have just once sneezed, it would have made our day. And that's it from my side. Back to the general evaluator.
Thank you so much, Kanav. You showed a beautiful ownership of encouragement. You started with your key takeaway, the strength, shared growth points, and offered suggestions for the areas of improvement. Your evaluation felt thoughtful and kind, and to own your presence even more, maybe try adjusting your camera to the eye level so we could connect with you directly. You already have a strong content, now let your presence match it. Fantastic job, Kanal. Okay, so I would like to call on the timer to please post the timing. Okay, there is it. Thank you so much. Zoom Master, please launch the poll for the best evaluator. Thank you. Okay. While we're doing that, I would like to call on the grammarian, Vivian, who has been listening closely for great language usage and our word of the day, ownership. Hi, Vivian. How was it well done? How could it
Hi,
be done
Nelly.
better?
Thank you very much, Nelly. Ladies and gentlemen, for this meeting, our speakers showed great ownership with their language use, and it made my work very
easy. I do apologize for my background. I am having some technical difficulties, so kindly see with me. This meeting, I did not had much. There wasn't much use of the word of the day, ownership. There were only 2 persons I recorded use the word of the day, ownership. However, there were great use of the English language that I would love to share with you. Our Toastmasters during their presentation shared that if you don't lead from the ground up, if you lead from the ground up, there is excellence. Whatever you do, leave a legacy. Growth is fueled by continuous learning. I never failed in anything. Rather, I learned from it. Those were some of the beautiful quotes that I had recorded today in our meeting. I would encourage each and every person to, at our next meeting, use the word of the day because it helps to bring more value to the meeting. So whenever you speak, remember the word of the day. And even if you did not use the word of the day for this meeting, you can still use it throughout your week. Remember, ownership, own your life. That has bring the end of my report. Back to you, Nelly.
Thank you so much, Vivian. Thank you for taking ownership of those words. Maybe the poll is already done, so Zoom Master, please share the results to our PR Master, and the screenshot will be perfect. So now I will proudly and with full ownership take the stage for our overall evaluation. In this meeting, I truly felt the power of leading from the ground up. Because no one here just showed up. You showed up, you owned it. From the preparation to the participation, from people who chose to step up, not because they were asked, but because they owned the role. And that is what leading from the ground up looks like. This meeting didn't just feel like a checklist. It feels like a community in motion. And I want to start with what grew beautifully in this meeting. Our speakers and role takers showed strong energy and preparation. And that is leadership that begins before the meeting even starts. Our evaluators, they gave feedback with heart and clarity. They are leaders, growing leaders from the ground up. And the chat, the reactions, the smiling faces on the screen, that was ownership of connection. And this meeting really felt alive. That is leadership. Now, because we own our growth, a few roles stretch past time. Remember, owning the clock is also leadership. And time is not our enemy, it's our coach. Also, some transition could flow a little smoother. So when we pass the stage clearly, we also help the next leader rise with confidence. And I have a simple leadership tool anyone can use. Always start with a smile. It's contagious, it lifts the room, it invites connection, and it turns a good meeting into an unforgettable one. I would also like to honor those who lead quietly from the ground. So our SAA, the timer, the tech team. You may be behind the screens, but you own the foundation of this meeting. To Holmes and Mamadou, 2 hats, 1 heart, double ownership, impromptu. Thank you so much. And to everyone who prepared, thank you for owning this meeting before it even began. That is leadership again from the ground up. So today, it reminds us one of the powerful truths. Leadership does not start from the top. It starts when you say, "This is mine and I will own it." And this concludes my general evaluation segment. Back to you, Toastmaster Renan.
Thank you, Nelly Jane, for taking ownership of the general evaluation. You really rocked the evaluation with your thoughtful insights and encouraging feedback. Your observation not only helped us grow but also remind us all of the power of constructive support in becoming better communicators and self-directed leaders. Now, for the interest of time, to leave us one final reflection, we'll call on Hannah Schmid for the thought of the day. Hannah is deeply committed to leadership that develops from the ground up, working alongside those we serve. For Hannah, in leadership speak, genuine leaders don't elevate themselves above others on their team. They elevate with them because everything begins where we all stand together. Over to you, Hannah.
Thank you very much, Mr. Toastmaster, and hello, fellow guests. Indeed, leading from the ground up highlights that leadership speak starts with small, consistent actions and not from the top down. In leadership speak, we lead from the ground up by consistently providing support, constructive feedback, evaluations grounded in critical thinking. We embrace ownership and lead with empathy and encouragement, building strong foundations that enable others to stand, grow, and succeed. Oltesh, you flagged that strong sense of safety when you joined Leadership Speak. Thank you for empathizing that. After all, the chain reaction of leadership within Leadership Speak is widely recognized. Paramjit and Lydiah, along with your mentor and focus on the fuel of growth, highlighted that mentorship and quality evaluations provide the fuel needed to lead from the ground up. Buhari and Irfan, you acknowledged their weakness and worked to achieve the levels to succeed they aimed for in life. Roman, taking ownership of your memories is indeed memorable. It is something to be recommended. Thinking of your memories. In summary, start small. Lead tall. Start at the roots. The crown and the fruit will follow. Like your mango tree. Oltesh, Mr. Toastmaster.
Okay, thank you, Hannah, for summarizing all the takeaways in our meeting. Now let's move on to reveal the winners for Best Effort Speaker and Evaluator. First, let's announce the Best Effort Speaker winner. PR Master, can you share? PR Master Adriana, are you sharing already your screen or the winner for the Best Effort Speaker? Hello? Okay, so maybe you can post in the chat box and in our WhatsApp group who are the winners for best speaker and evaluator. To all of us, as this will conclude my Toastmaster of the day. Now I will hand the control to Holmes Teng, our club president, for the business portion and calling guest to share insightful feedback. Over to you, Holmes.
Thank you, TMOD. I'll be calling on a few guests to share some of your comments. Angelo, are you available to speak?
Yes, I am. Thank you so much for having me here. And what I learned about your club and also the proceedings of the meeting, Leadership Speak, Toastmasters Club, is all about ownership. So what I also learned from ownership is that all the learnings that I got this meeting, I'll take ownership of it, ownership of learning. And so whatever I learn here, I make sure that this would not stop from me. But of course, it should be shared so that many could benefit from it. So thank you so much for having me here. I actually had the best seat in town. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Angelo. I also noted you filled up the guest book. One of our executive team members will reach out to you. Thank you so much. We look forward to seeing you here again. Give me a moment. Faith, any comments from you? She may be unavailable. No worries. I acknowledge the time a little bit over time today. I'll hand back to the TMOD to end this chapter meeting, and subsequently, those who are available, you're welcome to stay back for a post-meeting discussion. Over to you, Renan.
Okay, thank you, Holmes. Would like to mention only the best speaker is Oltesh Thobias. Give a round of applause. And then the best evaluator is Terrence. Give a round of applause. Okay, thank you. Now, this concludes my TMOD role, fellow Toastmasters. Thank you. And to our guest, I now close the meeting. Mr. Zoom Master, if you may now stop the recording. Thank you.